When I used to be out there running around, lost in the streets, my biggest fear used to be getting killed somewhere and having people stand over me that I ain't know and shit, looking down at my body and shit. Like that used to be the number one thing that was in my head because I used to be going a lot of places. Like I was a wanderer. Like I used to be wandering off, even at a very young age. Like I would just be like running away and shit, and wandering away, like not coming home and staying out in the streets and shit like that. So not staying out in the streets literally, but just not coming home because I had access to things. Like I had an older brother and shit, which gave me access. You know what I mean, to other things. Like he was like 8 years older than me, so like 8 or 9. He like 16, 17. You know what I mean? He got little girlfriends, they own cribs, shit like that. So I used to be able to be, I used to be with him. So everybody knew me. Like he introduced me to the streets in another way. Like as far as being able to be around older people, like I would like be places and people would see me and they'd be like, "Oh, let's count little brother or whatever." You know what I mean? So like it was easy for me to move and have access to like semi-adult shit at a young age. Like I was able to wander right into that world and shit. And I used to be wander. I was a wanderer, and I started going out of town early, like going out of town with the older dudes and shit. Because again, like I said, I was a wanderer, so it didn't take much for somebody to convince me to go somewhere because I already wanted to go anyway. You know what I mean? Wherever it was. Like I was an explorer and shit. So and at the time too, I was really into music. Like I really wanted to do music a lot. So I used to be around a lot of different people that was into that too. And the combination of the two was like it was almost hand in hand back in those times. Like a lot of people that was getting into music was really not if they weren't themselves, well, really not them, not the artists. I'm not gonna say the artists like we see today, but like a lot of the people that were artists, they were getting funded by people who were in the streets because that's who had the money. That's who could pay for the studio time. That's who could get you to look up the par, like how you supposed to be looking as an entertainer. You know what I mean? Before you get a deal or a budget or anything, they the ones who take you to go get your photos done for your bio and all that. They had the money. They paying for everything. So a lot of street dudes had money tied up into entertainment back then. And I remember it was these dudes, man. I ain't even going I ain't even gonna say the main dude name, man, but he was he was moving around, he was getting money. And I was around him and he took not a bunch of us, he probably took like 4 or 5 of us with him out to DC and shit. And at the time it was it was that fucking group, man. EU, I think the name. I don't know if that was the name of the dude or if that was a group, but I know at the time they was out. They had a song out called "Doing the Butt" and shit, and dude was like managing the group or whatever, but he was really on some hustling shit. So we had went down there to DC to meet them. I don't even know if that's where they was from or none of that shit, but we went down there and we met them and shit. He brought us around them and all that, but really we was down there for some hustling shit. So we down there and all that. He puts us out on this little strip and shit. So we out there doing what we do. And like the third day we was out there, like this is why I've been knew that people, nah, I ain't gonna say people, but a lot of a lot of dudes from DC really, really seriously do not like New Yorkers. I mean, in the terms of you coming there, like being there where they in their territory and shit. You know what I mean? Like they're not welcoming. Like they don't wanna, like they on their own shit, which is all love. But anyway, me and my little man was standing on this block and shit, on this strip that dude had us out there on. And it was another kid that was on a pedal bike. Like he had rolled by. Like we had been seeing him randomly, like for the last couple of days. And even that day, this dude rolled down the block. He was young, man. This dude was a kid like us, like no more than 15. This dude rolled down the block, yo, on the bike and shot my friend right in the head, yo. Like what, while he was standing next to me, and just kept it moving. Like real talk. Like it was just like basically like y'all niggas get the fuck out of here type shit. I was shook. I was scared to death, man. I got the fuck up out of there. Went to these niggas, the older niggas that brought us out of town, the main dude anyway, and tell him what, you know what this motherfucker said? Like, this is when I knew you just can't be fucking with. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I still was wandering around after this, but I was very, very cautious for myself after this. Like, after I'm telling dude what happened and all that shit, this motherfucker going to, the only thing he was concerned with was me not telling dude's mom that he was with him when this shit happened. Like he the one who brought us out there. Like that's all he was worried about. Told them niggas to send me home, man. Word up. I never went nowhere with them niggas again. Like nowhere. Not even, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't go up the street with these niggas. Like that shit was an eye-opening experience for me, man. Like that shit was crazy. I used to be seeing his peoples, my little friend I'm talking about, his peoples in there, like that shit was crazy, but that shit was crazy. That was really like my biggest fear, like being somewhere, being out of town somewhere and getting killed, and then people like that you don't know, like standing over your body and shit. Like that shit was definitely a big thing, a big fear of mine. You know what I mean?